Hey you guys, it's Mikkel, and I have been really feeling like I needed to share this message for months and months. I originally felt the impression to share probably 3 months ago, but I've just been putting it off, and it's at the point where I've got to be obedient. I've got to follow through. I need to be a voice of truth. I need to come on here and tell you what is going on and what is coming your way because it is coming and it's coming quickly and you need to be ready. Right now is the time where you need to draw your line in the sand. I live in Oregon, and many of you guys might know what's going on in the schools in California because the California schools are always on the news. But what is going on in California is coming up the coastline and it's hit Oregon. And it's come so fast and it's hitting so fast in the public schools that so many parents, Christian parents, have not drawn their line in the sand and they're not prepared. And I'm seeing them maybe just keep penciling in a new line. I'm seeing fear in parents' eyes. I'm seeing that they don't know what to do. They're not prepared. And I don't want that to happen to those of you out there. Maybe you live more inland in the United States. But what is happening on the West Coast and the East Coast, it's coming inland and you need to be prepared. For those of you who are new to my channel, I felt impressed to take my kids out of school 4 years ago. Partly because, to be honest, things that were coming into the schools were going past my line in the sand. And I had drawn my line in the sand a long time ago. And at that moment, that was it. And I pulled my kids. Things were going on in the schools that obviously were not, that were very concerning to many parents and families. And they wanted to form a committee. Well, me being homeschooling, I was just kind of like, nah, I'm homeschooling. Like, that doesn't affect us. But the spirit was so strong and spoke to me and said that I needed to be on that committee. So me and my mom, she is a former public school teacher. She's taught in the schools for 25 years, and she's seen the entire change from conservative values, strong family core values, to this new cultural identity coming in. She joined the committee. So here we are together, and our first, like, the committee really didn't know where to go. They just kind of had, hearsay, and she said that, and this is what the student said was happening. And I knew that we couldn't really have a case with just hearsay or things that happened. We needed solid proof. We needed facts. So I needed to get my hand on the curriculum. I needed to see the lessons. I needed to have the facts to really present what was going on in writing and what was being taught. But we didn't have the curriculum. No one could find it. Many parents said this, that, the district would say, oh, we can give you the curriculum, access to it, but we just couldn't find it. Links were always broken, and it never led anywhere. So, of course, in prayer, me and my mom, the Lord led us to these links to the curriculum, which I don't even know how we got there. It was just divine intervention that God put it in front of us, and we had links to everything that they are teaching these children in the schools, from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. So I started digging in. I would teach my kids all day. We'd homeschool. And, once they went to bed, I would spend hours in the schoolroom on my computer, reading every single lesson, watching every single video, reading over every single worksheet, and test and quiz, and reading the wording from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. I read through the entire thing lesson by lesson. And you guys, what I can tell you, I need to share with you what I learned in that experience and what I witnessed. This material is extremely dangerous. I need to tell you that it is an attack on God's truths, on His principles. It is an attack on God's plan. It is an attack on our purpose on earth and our divine identity. It is an attack on our children, and it is a trap that Satan has set to gather your children into his army and to make them fall. It is a trap. It's dangerous. It's so explicit. This curriculum that I was reading is so sexually explicit and has so many lies written throughout, and it's so dark that every night after I would read it, I had to delete it off my computer. It was that bad. I was seeing the big picture, how they took it from kindergarten and drew it all the way and built upon one lie upon the other, and how they did that. And what came to me was the same patterns that they're using to teach these children these lies, and lure them into this whole cultural ideology, is the same principles that a child predator uses. And you might roll your eyes and think I'm being dramatic. This is what the Lord spoke to me. It's the same patterns. Gain the trust, and then slowly they'll build upon that and share more lies. Grade school was really a time to build trust, get their trust, separate them from their parents, and then once they hit middle school, it's really a time to load it on, because middle schoolers are so, they're so unsure of themselves anyway. You guys remember middle school. The principles being taught are directly an attack to God's principles. From kindergarten, they're teaching that you don't know who you are, you don't know if you're a boy or girl. In grade school, about 5th grade, they start introducing some very dangerous, explicit, sexual things to these 5th graders, and they're not doing it as part of, education. They're doing it to sexualize these children. They're teaching them, instructing them how to do these things. And I'm not going to mention it on my channel. Like I said, this is explicit pornographic stuff that is being taught to these children. It is a complete attack on God's work. And this material that is being taught is worse than a pornographic movie. Because the reason why is because it's completely presented like a good thing. And the teacher that they look up to and love is teaching them this. So your child is not going to be feeling the Spirit at the school, because it's not going to be present. It cannot be present in an unholy place, and this is unholy. It's wicked, it's evil, it's disgusting. It's an attack on our kids, and we need to look at it like that. It's an attack. I have spent the last spring and the summer in prayer so worried about these kids, so concerned about them. And I want to tell the parents out there that are maybe saying, well, but my kids need to be missionaries. Well, let me tell you this. Would you send your child to a child predator every day and ask your child to be a missionary and a light while they're with the child predator? It's that bad. I'm not being dramatic. The stuff that is being taught to these kids is as disgusting, as gross, as sick as a child predator teaching your children or being with your children. It is. It's an attack, and it's gross. And we need to take our children back. We have to take them back. It is our mantle. It is our calling. And I am not going to stand before God and face him and look down at my feet and go, well, I just couldn't homeschool, or I couldn't do anything. God has a plan for you. God has a plan for his children. When I say draw your line in the sand, as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I have the Proclamation to the Family hanging in my front room. And on it, it states truths, God's truths, that we are created male and female, and we have a divine purpose. It states truths about families. And it states this very strong truth. And it's from Psalm 127:3. And this is what it says. Parents have a sacred duty to rear their children in love and righteousness, to provide for their physical and spiritual needs, and to teach them to love and serve one another, observe the commandments of God, and be law-abiding citizens wherever they live. Husbands and wives, mothers and fathers will be held accountable before God for the discharge of these obligations. That's where my line in the sand is. I am not going to be sending my children out the door to be taught these lies, this deception, to be taught everything against the proclamation. All day long, for 6 hours a day, sending my children to be sexualized and to be taught that they don't have an identity, they can choose whatever identity they want, that God doesn't exist, that their parents are old-fashioned and don't know anything. I have a mantle on my shoulders to raise my children in truth and righteousness, and sending them out to be taught Satan's way, to be taught by the enemy, because this curriculum is written by the enemy. I want to warn you that Satan, the way Satan is he does put little truths in there, like loving one another. That is a truth. We do need to love one another. And he'll put those truths in there, and then he'll wash it around with the lies, and he'll put his lies in there, and then it's confusing, and it's not truth. It's not truth anymore. I know not everyone can homeschool, but no child should be in school learning this. No child should. There are other options, and that's the wonderful thing about personal revelation, is Heavenly Father will guide you and your family to what you need to do. I was someone that couldn't homeschool, okay? I had a job, I had to work, I had to provide for the family. I couldn't homeschool, you guys. We need to stop telling God what we can't do. This is coming, and it's coming quick. And you need to start making a plan. You need to draw your line in the sand and know where the line is. And for me, the line was the proclamation hanging on my wall. What they were teaching in school is a complete attack against the proclamation. And I am held accountable for that. I am. I will stand before God. That's why it's so important to follow personal revelation, because everyone's situation is different. Everyone's family is different. Everyone lives in a different part of the world. Not one way is the only way. And I don't want you ever to think that my way or what my family is doing is the only way. It is not. But I do want you to know that what is being taught in the public schools is Satan's work. It is evil and wicked, and no child should be there. I had to be very bold here. I had to be obedient, and I hope that the Spirit touched your hearts, and I hope that maybe in some way you're moved to either confirm your decision in homeschooling or private school or whatever you're doing, or maybe stir something in your heart to start being awake and really be watchful, be ready, and draw that line in the sand so when it does come, you will know what to do. You will have a plan. Make a plan today. And then when this happens, when it comes, or maybe you're in California or you're in Oregon or Washington, it's here. It's August. You still have time. You don't have to send your kids to public school. You still have time to look around for other options, to pray, and Heavenly Father will guide you. Pray over you guys. I pray over the children on earth today. It is such a hard time to be a child, to be a teen, and they need their parents more than ever. They need us. They need parents who will stand up for truth and protect them. We need to learn to protect our children. I wish the best for you. Godspeed.